What's going on, y'all? I want to talk about why, in my opinion, we need to have unions, collective bargaining. Workers need to have rights. First of all, a lot of us live in what are called right-to-work states. Right-to-work states are essentially union-busting states. They have policies and legislations in place, often organized by Republicans and conservatives. Don't get me wrong, Democrats are, the savior, but just putting it out there, these types of policies and legislations and laws tend to be pushed by Republicans and conservatives, okay? And they're basically union-breaking laws and policies that make it extremely difficult for workers to organize and advocate for collective bargaining, fair wages, safe work conditions, a true work-life balance, anything that allows the employee, the worker, you, me, to have any type of autonomy over our pay, our salaries and wages, benefits, the work-life balance, the work environment. They do everything in their power to get rid of those, to get rid of our rights as workers and employees, okay? Union busting policies. In the state of Michigan, where I live, we've pretty much have been a right-to-work state for the past 10 years, okay? This happened under Governor Rick Snyder, who comes from Ann Arbor, Michigan, all right? And I happen to be in Ann Arbor, Michigan when I'm shooting this video. Go figure. And Mercy is in the back. We're actually outside of a laundromat because I have to wash clothes, even though I'm spending $1,238 a month to stay at an apartment that doesn't even have a washer and dryer in the unit. Capitalism. Anyways, so they get rid of these, they implemented the right to work law, which again, a lot of people hear right to work and think, oh, that's a good thing. You're right. We do have the right to work. Completely looking at the fact that because of right to work laws, companies can fire people without any real legitimate reasons. They can just arbitrarily fire you. You don't have a right to advocate for yourself because you don't have a union. You don't have any real policies and guidelines to support the worker and to protect the worker, the employee, you, the individual, from your employer, your job, your company, the business you work for. So like, for example, back in September, I had a discussion with my employers through our chain of command to discuss the fact that we're steady having responsibilities added to our workload, and there's never a discussion on pay raises, increasement in pay, increasement in wages, even though we keep having more and more responsibilities dumped on us. And, because we don't have a union, when you have these conversations, you're literally putting yourself out there to be fired. You are now being seen as a whistleblower because you're literally advocating to have a better wage because you're literally asking me to do more work. More responsibilities are being dumped on me, yet I'm still getting the same shitty low wage pay, stagnant wage pay. So that was in September of 2020. Here I am, 2021 of January. I had another conversation because the very same company that, like all the other companies did over the summer of 2020, expressing how BLM is important and Black Lives Matter, and here's what we're doing as a company, an organization, a business, an employer, to prove that Black Lives Matter. Yet, we're not honoring national federal holidays such as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Last year I worked it, this year I worked it. And I literally made a post on the social media that this company has crafted for themselves. Only people who work at this company for this employer is allowed to use this social media that the employer has created and crafted for itself. And I literally made a comment and was basically like, hey, I would hope in the future that this company would actually honor the national federal holiday and allow it to be a day off like it's supposed to be. Now, granted, I also added an additional comment and stated during my years in college, we would consider Dr. King's Day as a day on, not a day off, in the sense that we go back into our communities, we pay it forward, we volunteer, we give back. It's a day of service, community service, civic engagement. And it's typically anywhere from 6 to 10 hour day of giving back, volunteering at various nonprofits, volunteer opportunities and organizations. Whatever you can do to pay it forward is what we would typically do. And I left that as well in the comment. And then I received a reprimanding from my team lead's boss because I left that comment, only to be let go from the company. What was that, Friday? So 4 days later, I was let go. And I personally didn't take it as being let go, being fired. I didn't take it as I wasn't really upset about it because, number one, they constantly pay low and stagnant wages. Okay. When I got hired into this job in March of 2019, they were hiring people in at $12 and $13 an hour. I had to negotiate for an additional $1. Now, keep in mind, I'm coming into this job with 4 college degrees, 2 associate's degrees, 1 bachelor's degree, and a master's degree. On top of the fact that I'm coming into this job with years of work experience, job experience. On top of the fact that I'm driving 45 minutes there and back each day at the time from Flint, Michigan to Pontiac, Michigan. So the wages were always low and stagnant and never matched the cost of living, never matched inflation, any of that. For a company that's constantly bragging about the billions of dollars that they're making in production. And who's creating that production? Who's doing the production? You, me, we, the workers, the employers. Yet, are we getting a piece of that? Billions of dollars that's happening every single month? Anyways, so, again, because you don't have a union, because we have right to work laws that have been implemented over the past decade, predominantly by Republicans and conservatives, it is what it is. Just call it for what it is. And again, I'm not saying this to say that the Democrats and the liberals are somehow saviors, because they're not. They're just as full of shit as the Republicans and conservatives. But I'm just pointing it out. These union breaking, busting type laws and legislation tend to be pushed out by Republicans and conservatives. That's all I'm saying. You don't believe me? Look it up. Research. Information will be in the description box below. But also do your own research. You know what I mean? Do your own independent investigation. But, so, I was fired. I was let go. And I wasn't really tripping about it because, again, I wasn't even making $2,000 a month from this job. Working 40 plus hours a week, I wasn't even guaranteed to bring home $1,000 every 2 weeks. Because after taxes and your so-called benefits, all the deductions for your benefits and your 401k and your health insurance that's trash, that doesn't cover anything, $3,000 deductible. All of that, you still have to pay out of pocket for a lot of your procedures, medical services, doctor's visits, the co-pays, the deductibles are out of control, but these are the benefits that you get from your job. Anyways, so all of that, and you're let go because you simply ask, hey, it's a federal holiday, maybe it'll be nice if you would consider honoring it. Not to mention that I don't even think we received holiday pay working on Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. But anyways, so yeah, so I'm that's that, And I'm not really, like I said, I'm not really upset about it because, again, I wasn't making a living. Like, I still needed to have a second and third side hustle. Again, if I was basing my income off of my job, well, my previous job, I would be in poverty. I wasn't making $2,000 a month. You know? So, and unfortunately, this is how a lot of these jobs are. You know, they don't pay living wages. The benefits are pathetic and whack, or they don't even offer you benefits at all. And yeah, if you would speak up for better pay, better wages, collective bargaining, you know, holding them accountable. I mean, you said that Black Lives Matter, but then you don't even honor these holidays. And just the shadiness and the corruption that a lot of these companies and corporations and businesses have. It really is just like, yeah, capitalism is slavery with a C in many ways. But hey, we're just lazy. We're just not doing right. We're just not pulling ourselves up from our bootstraps. We're just not ever doing quite enough, right? But anyways, I just wanted to make a video to kind of discuss that a little bit. Yeah, this, if it hasn't been the time ever before, then this damn sure is the time. Make sure you all are organizing, unionizing, and mobilizing. Everyone, regardless of their education, regardless of their job experience, regardless of their occupation, everyone deserves living wages that take into consideration the cost of living and the cost of inflation. Everyone deserves universal health insurance, health care. Here it is a year later of us going into a global pandemic, and people still don't have health insurance. And it's also very shitty that our health insurance is directly tied to our employer. So if you lose your job, you're laid off, you're fired, whatever happens, you just lose your health insurance. That's also very shitty and shady. But welcome to the United States of America with the 3 Ks. And again, a lot of these companies and organizations are very performative. They can talk all day about Black Lives Matter, put up a nice little hashtag, make a little social media post. But when you really look at the actions behind their words, well, you already know. They fall very short.